determine that being hurt physically and emotionally and mentally is a good thing. No human objectively decides that. Humans objectively, at least decent humans that have empathy, the majority of which aren't Christians, realize that being in pain and suffering is bad.
Christians
we have
empathy
and we can see another person suffering.
You got to calm down and let me talk.
Thought of ever since his Andrew Wilson debate, which I've covered on this channel, he still hasn't thought of a good argument for it, because there is no good argument for it. It's not evil. But you know what? Maybe Craig might be able to change my mind. Yeah, I'm pressing X to doubt on that. Let me show you how this debate went.
Circles, sir.
No, I'm not. I gave you an objective standard, something that causes suffering and harm.
See? This is what you expect out here. I'm going to rewind a little bit. It's because Method Ministries over here is calling out, rightfully so, that there is no objective standard for secular humanism. And Craig insists that there is. He insists that there is. That whatever causes harm. And I'll talk about why that's not that doesn't mean anything in a little bit.
Bad. We all know why suffering bad, because it fucking hurts. I'm sorry. Straight away I'm going to get annoyed if you ask questions. No, I will fucking swear.
I think hold on, because we would, for instance, like there could be some.
I'll check out that E. Michael Jones. He's on Rumble. I'll check him out. E. Michael Jones. Okay, back to this.
Suffering that we would consider to be good. For instance, I see my child running into the street and a car is coming. I'm going to throw myself in front of the car and move my kid out of the way. I am suffering. Yes, it hurts. Hurt is bad, but the overall, in my interpretation, would be good. So I think that's might be where Lucas is trying to run you down. In terms
any
of
kind of suffering. Right. So any kind of suffering is bad. The fact is, if your God is real, right? Let me finish. Let me finish, please. I got 3 words in. Don't interrupt. If your God is real, then he designed everything. He set every single thing in motion. He knows every single thing that's ever going to happen, and designed the universe so those things will happen. So in Sarah's example there, she had to jump in front of the car to save her child, to get herself hurt. And then that means that she suffers and feels pain and is hurt, okay? But God knew that was going to happen. In fact, God made that happen because he set the universe in motion and decided that everything that was ever going to happen is going to happen. And now Sarah could be dead and her child have no mother. Or Sarah spends a long time in pain, suffering, because God decided that to happen. So that's bad. That's evil. I don't need to tell you why is that bad, because everyone understands that suffering is bad. It hurts. It's not a good thing.
So what, in Craig's world, because you could get hurt sometimes, because sometimes you could feel pain, therefore God is evil or whatnot? And if that's the case, if you have no control of whether or not you're going to feel pain, then well, what's it still doesn't beg the, like, it still doesn't answer the question of why do we, like, why bother even following human secularism then, or secular humanism then? Like, if it's just we're going to get hurt no matter what and God's evil and all this stuff, like, well, how can, and by the way, I want to point it out quickly, Craig in his opening conceded that God was real for the sake of this debate. So we're obviously, as a Christian, I believe God is real, but just for everyone else, for the sake of this debate, we're assuming God's real. But if so, that's the case. If God set everything in motion and God causes pain, which I don't think that's exactly how that works. If God causes pain, how would being a secular humanist deter that in any way? Like, how would that deter that?
So when I ask you why is suffering bad, you just say because it's bad.
Because it makes you suffer.
Without referencing,
because it makes you suffer, because it causes harm. I've said these things over and over. I do not want you to ask the same question. I do not want you to ask the same question. I do not want you to ask the same question when I give you the answer. I do not want you to ask the same question when I answer the same question multiple times.
Craig, do you think
you an answer? Don't ask it again.
Do you think it's a circle? Like when I ask you,
no, not at all. Suffering is bad because it hurts.
Okay, you talked. I got to talk.
See, Craig insists that he answered the question. He insists that he answered it, but he really didn't. saying, well, harm is bad because it hurts, that doesn't really answer anything of how, like, it doesn't mean anything, because just because something hurts doesn't mean it's bad for you. You know, so I mean, I'm sure Craig here is pro vaccines, right? Pro jabs. Well, it hurts when you get it. Sometimes it might even cause some negative effects in you. So by that logic, then by Craig's logic, because it hurts and it could also cause some damage and harm, we shouldn't allow the vaccines then. And by the way, again, what's Craig's point of view? We should just never feel pain, or what is this?
So when I ask you why is suffering bad, you just say because it's bad.
No, I say because it hurts, because it causes harm.
Which is the same thing.
No, it's not. They
Yes,
are
it is.
descriptors
Like,
of why
you're
it's
just
bad.
going in a circle. So
No, okay, stop. Just stop.
No, I'm not done talking.
1 second. Just stop 1 second.
I got
Just
it.
stop 1 second.
Hold on, both of
Yeah.
you.
1
Hold
second.
on.
Right,
Let maybe Lucas can better elaborate it and run the line of logic if that helps, and then maybe that will help.
Well, I just want to actually get my answer out though, because he's asking the same question over and over again.
Well,
why is that bad? Right? It's bad because it makes you suffer. That hurts. It causes harm.
That's not a sufficient answer, Craig.
Bad.
That's not a sufficient answer.
So you need an objective standard to say why this is bad according to atheism.
I just gave you one.
You're going in circles, sir.
No, I'm not. I gave you an objective standard. Something that causes suffering and harm and hurting is bad. That is an objective standard.
Who determined that objective standard according to your worldview? Not mine. This is your worldview.
The feelings.
Everybody.
If I suffer, everybody. If it causes harm, it is bad. What don't you understand? Oh my God.
Who is everybody?
Why are you so evil?
Who is everybody according to atheism?
Why do you like defend evil things by going, well, what's the objective standard? The objective standard is it fucking hurts.
Yeah, but again, Craig, well, then you're against vaccines, I guess, because vaccines hurt. I guess you're against that. I guess you're against going to the gym, because if you get a good pump going and you get a good gym workout in, the next day it's going to hurt. You're going to be sore. So I guess you're against that then as well. So no, Craig, it's not just as simple as, well, if it hurts, it's bad. You know, if everything that causes pain isn't objectively bad for you.
Craig,
do you know why I'm giving this critique?
It's not a critique. It's a stupid question that I've answered multiple times.
Listen, I understand that you're saying it's stupid.
On the opposite side too, everything that gives you pleasure and causes pleasure is not good for you either. So no, whether or not it causes pain or pleasure or not, those are not enough to set an objective moral standard. If it gives me pleasure to eat Jack in the Box all day and night, would you say that that's a good thing then? That's morally right? Or do you think, you know what? I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good.
It's stupid, but do you understand why I'm?
No, I don't. Well, I do, because you are brainwashed into a cult.
Okay,
go ahead. Let's let Lucas explain it. And maybe that will help move it along.
Yeah, give me a non-emotional.
No. This is going to be emotional. Just so you're aware. If you are saying that God is evil and that's okay.
Hold on, gentlemen. Let's
not.
I didn't call you names. I called you evil, which is a representation of what you are.
Stupid.
Let's go ahead and Lucas, if you could elaborate further on the suffering, and maybe we can move the conversation along instead of being stuck here.
Yeah, I mean it's really simple. Like if you take a can of Coke and shake it up and it has fizz, is that fizz producing moral truth or an objective standard? According to atheism, that's what you have. You just have matter and motion, and we're right to ask why. According to atheism, what is truth? Because it's clearly it's immaterial, and if science and knowledge just reduce to what we can observe, then how are we observing this objective standard that Greg wants us to just accept? I'm not accepting it. It's an internal critique.
What are you talking about? Suffering is bad because it hurts. It causes harm.
According to my worldview, according to your worldview,
you are going round in circles with the same thing over and over and over, and it's a bit ridiculous.
Because you can't
even seriously asking like it's a mystery?
Lucas, can you finish the point for me?
Well, I mean, it would just be back to Craig's the folly of atheism.
There's no folly.
Again, if you shake a can of Coke and it fizzes, that's not producing something that's objective, not just for me, but for, objective means for everybody. So whether I'm in this culture, that culture, whether I'm on Mars, this is right, this is wrong. Atheism doesn't have an objective standard. There's no
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. It 100% has an objective standard.
No, it doesn't.
If it causes harm and suffering, it is bad.
According to you?
Stop. No, according to humanity.
So, I'm sure we're causing harm and misery to all the MS-13 gang members that are locked up in El Salvador, right? We're probably causing harm and misery to those guys, right? Those people that are locked up in there. So are we evil for doing that? Should we let them out because it's causing them harm? Is it a bad thing that we have them locked out? See, Craig keeps trying to simplify it into, well, it causes harm, but it's not that simple. That's not the objective cause of morality here.
That is an objective thing.
Nope.
If it physically causes harm, objectively causes harm and suffering, objectively, that is bad.
Did atheists
objectively
did humans determine that, and that's what makes it true and valid?
Okay, are you seriously asking like it's some kind of mystery, right?
If you asking you. I said,
lost a loved one, or sat for a flat earth debate, suffering is bad. It's bad because conscious beings like you and me prefer to not be in pain, to be tortured. I'm going to monologue for 2 minutes, so hold on. Not to be tortured, not to endure endless agony. Suffering is bad because it hurts physically, emotionally, mentally, and we're capable of as humans of empathy. So we recognize that pain in others and go, yeah, let's not do that. That's bad. It's not a deep metaphysical puzzle. It's biology, psychology, neurology, and basic bloody decency. If your worldview needs to pretend that the Holocaust might be morally neutral without God, maybe rethink the worldview that you have. Humans decide what is bad. By the way it affects us. Objectively, if it causes harm.
Well, how did we get to the Holocaust in the first place? Huh? We got to it in the first place because, yes, humans decided what was objectively harmful. And the reason we got to that place is because people thought that Jews were a threat to their society and stuff. Therefore, it was morally justified to, do the Holocaust. That's how you got people on board. You convince them that these people over here are bad and that it's morally right to therefore do away with them because they're going to cause harm to us in our society. So that's how you get that.
Harm, it is a bad thing. Do not, again, ask me by what objective standard, because I have just told you.
If humans determined that harm is good, Craig, would that mean that it's objective?
No, humans wouldn't.
Hold on.
That's a stupid question. Humans would not determine that harm is good because it hurts. I just explained to you the reason why it is bad, because it hurts. Humans do not determine that being hurt physically and emotionally and mentally is a good thing. No human objectively decides that. Humans objectively, at least decent humans that have empathy, the majority of which aren't Christians, realize that being in pain and suffering is bad.
Christians
we have empathy and we can
Craig,
see another person suffering.
You got to calm down and let me talk. All right, you're going on.
Well, you got to stop asking the same question over
hold
and over.
on.
If you ask the same question again, I will keep monologuing. All right, stop asking the same question.
I've answered your question. Yeah. All right, Lucas, go ahead. Maybe if Lucas, if you have another question, it sounds like you're trying to run a line of logic. So I think if Lucas is trying to do that, Craig, it might be more helpful to do brief yes or no answers, and you can always elaborate after you say yes or no. But it sounds like that's what Lucas is trying to do.
I see where you're going, but I disagree. He's trying to run a line of logic. What he's trying to do is say that there's no objective standard without God, which is just false. It's literally
false. And the way that we could debate that is if we go down a line of logic. I just think Craig just can't answer it, and he probably knows it, so he's trying to just say, well, I answered it, it causes harm, it's objective, let's move on, stop asking the same questions, because I think he knows he doesn't have a good answer for it.
But listen, it's obvious, Craig, you don't have a justification, so you throw a temper tantrum when I ask you for it.
No, I do.
Exactly.
I've told you exactly what. The reason I'm shouting at you is because you keep asking the same question, right?
You know,
Okay,
You're
go
not
ahead
answering.
to your. Go ahead to your.
literal-
Lucas, go ahead to your next question.
If he wants to say that humanity is the one that determines things, then what if
Yes.
humanity just determines that harm is good?
No human has ever determined that harm is
Hold on,
good.
hold on,
Craig,
hold
I'm
on,
not
hold
done.
on. Let
Craig,
him
you have
finish,
to-
Craig.
Stop interrupting me.
Stop like saying stupid things then, like
Okay.
humans
Hold
determine
on,
that harm is
Craig,
good.
Craig. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to hold your breath and hold it for as long as you can while Lucas asks his question.
If he wants, thank you, Sarah. If he wants to say that humanity is the one that determines what is an objective truth, then it's arbitrary. What if they just determine tomorrow suffering is good? According to Craig's worldview, that's the direction we go in. There's no objective standard. It's subjective.
That's the same argument that Andrew Wilson tried to use.
Because
what if humanists did this? No humanist has ever done the thing that Andrew Wilson said, and no human.
These are logical questions. I'm to answer. These are internal critiques.
I'm responding. Just hold on. So no human has ever done the things that you are suggesting. No human has ever decided that my suffering, pain, and harm is a good thing.
True. Not true.
I'm sorry, but I just let you talk, so shut the fuck up. Right?
Be honest. Be honest. Don't lie.
Let's level down. Hold on.
Shut the fuck up.
Let's.
See, Craig, that's all the best he could do. No secular humanist has ever done these things. Oh, really? Really? There's never been any harm caused by secular humanists or by atheists. No. All atheists have always just been good. It's always just been good. It's those evil Christians that are bad. They're all bad. Listen, obviously Craig is in denial. He doesn't know how to defend his position. Ironically enough, Craig, who I guess FTFE stands for fight the flat earth. So he's used to going up against flat earthers. I mean, of course, it's flat earthers. Like, what do you expect? But Craig doesn't realize that he himself sounds like a flat earther when he goes up against Christians, because Christians are absolutely right. Secular humanists don't have any objective moral view. No, because it causes harm is not objective. Harm in itself doesn't always equal bad. And you know what? Sometimes you could get a situation, say, for instance, the abortion debate. What if you have two secular humanists? One thinks that you're causing harm to the unborn baby, therefore abortion wrong. And the other one here goes, well, actually, the unborn baby causes harm to the mother, and therefore abortion good. Well, both of them are coming from a place of this thing causes harm. So who is right in that situation? Who is right? Well, they're going to have to defer to the consensus. Now they just have to rely on the majority. Majority of people think it's wrong, abortion is wrong. Well, or a majority of people think it's right. And then you just go from there. It's all about how you feel at the time. And then tomorrow, these same group of people, some of these people might wake up and go, you know what, actually yesterday I said that abortion was right, but I'm actually thinking it's kind of wrong. And then it just, and then it could be in a few days, they could vote again and think, no, actually abortion wrong. And everything could just change due to secular humanism. There is no moral grounded. There is no grounded morality. There is no objective morality in secular humanism. So Craig hasn't thought of, ever since his Andrew Wilson debate, which I've covered on this channel, he still hasn't thought of a good argument for it, because there is no good argument for it. Secular humanism is a load of crap. And his only defense is, well, God evil, God bad, God evil, they're cultists and all this thing. But clearly secular humanism is just Looney Tune wacko stuff. But what'd you guys think about that? Sound off in the comment section below. Give this video a like if you liked it, and if you really liked it, please consider subscribing to my channel. Also subscribe to the Raging Tomatoes channel as well. She has a lot of great debates on there. She has like new debates pretty much every week in the open panels. Good stuff over there on the Raging Tomatoes channel. So please, I urge you, also subscribe to her channel as well.